All right, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and kind of give my student perspective of the natural gas issue. And little background, I grew up in Seattle. My house was situated amongst a forest, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a day that my mom was not yelling at me and my sister for being covered in mud and grass, because we spent every day outside playing and enjoying the forest. And I still remember the day that construction companies came in and started to take down the trees around our house to build a development. And it was the first time that I realized and recognized that what we do to our planet has an impact on me. And I think everyone can say that about them and has a personal story about that in some sense. And I think now in the past few years, I've become more engaged and interested in the natural gas discussion and kind of the impact that all the different facets have on me. And I was lucky enough to accompany many of the students sitting amongst you up to North Carolina a few months ago and meet with some of the natural gas stakeholders up there and see their perspectives. And one of the aspects that I didn't know of before and that I learned of when I was up there was the impact that natural gas extraction has on, say, Native American communities and the social impacts of that, and how drilling on their land may have some conflicts of interest with, say, their view of the earth and that being a sacred land. And I took that and kind of started to recognize that there are different issues that are within this discussion that I hadn't thought of before. And with that, we just heard from Dr. Murray, a little bit reluctantly so, about the earthquakes, and Dr. Ireland and some others earlier, of the possibility of, if there is a possibility for inducing earthquakes with not wastewater, but saltwater injection back into the earth. And I think I see a great opportunity for expanding our knowledge in this area to learn if there really is, say, if maybe something like temporal rates of injection have any influence on if there's a possibility to induce earthquakes, or if making sure that where we inject water into the different rock layers, that we can make sure that the water injected into these areas stay within that rock layer and don't move into other areas that might not be as stable if it does, as well as investigating the possibility for reactivation of faults, if that's even something that we should be worried about when we're injecting this water back in. As well, Dr. Martin will speak a little bit more towards the stakeholder side of some of these issues, but I think it's a good idea to investigate who the stakeholders would be if we do realize that induced earthquakes is a big issue, because the economic benefits are going to be geographically widespread, whereas some of the more hazardous hazardous downfalls to injected earthquake occurrences are going to be more based on exactly where these wells are, and it's going to impact the people directly there. So the people living in these areas may be the greatest stakeholders of that discussion. We also heard from Dr. Ireland and Hooper Smith, who had to leave, of some of the economic benefits for natural gas. And as someone whose favorite holiday is 4th of July, that's really exciting to hear, that we have the possibility to form our own domestic form of energy and export it and reap the economic and geopolitical advantages from that. And knowing that as someone who drives my car to school, to and from school every day, that's something that has weighed heavily on me, is national security and making sure that where we're getting the energy that's driving me and that I use is a good source of energy that I can be kind of rest easy on. And I see natural gas as being something an opportunity that is kind of supportive of that and supports that kind of rest easy kind of mindset. So as we sit kind of in the state with some of the highest consumptions of coal, while that's changing, as we've heard, It's exciting to know that we're in a state where 2015 has been kind of the designated decarbonization year, that people are expecting to see a lot more natural gas and nuclear and renewable energy usage and driving down the carbon dioxide emissions. While there's still some other emissions to be noted, I think it's really exciting to be in a time where we're switching and we're actually seeing that change happen. And we're seeing these impacts come in a cleaner sense, in a way that we're integrating all different facets of ways people are affected by this, and ways that economies and economic systems and geopolitical systems run. And so I'll kind of sum up with my background being in the biophysical sciences, and I know this is the case in many other fields. Every year there's different scientific conferences around, say, AGU, American Geophysical Union Conference, or even smaller 50, 100 people conferences of the best minds getting together and discussing ideas and going in and saying, okay, well, I used this method and it didn't really work so well, so let's switch to this method, and discussing with other people, the brilliant minds in the field, and getting together and figuring out where the common ground is so we can move forward. And it's exciting to be here and see that. I see this as kind of a mirror of that. And as Senator Alexander said, we have the future in our hands, and I think it's an exciting time to be not only in this room, but to see kind of this change happening and occurring as we are all here. And it's nice to, I'm honored to be here and speak towards it. Thank you.